Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Live Fully Now podcast with me, your host, Shannon Ryan. This is a place where we discover how to go from merely surviving to really thriving and stepping into our divine assignment and our purpose here on earth. In today's solo cast, I'm feeling called to share a little bit about my healing journey and all the obstacles that have come up and how really to keep going and how to surrender and have trust and faith in the process, even when obstacles come your way. So recently, a few weeks ago, I just got back from a Toltec medicine wheel of transformation. And when I signed up for this, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. But in true fashion of me, I decided to say yes because it felt in alignment with my soul's purpose. It felt in alignment with my truth. And so I said yes without having any expectations, without having any idea of really what I was getting into. And what I found was so beautiful and so transformational. So, for a while, I've been dipping my toes into different types of healing modalities and really trying to figure out my soul's purpose, my soul's mission, my dharma here in this incarnation. And I had had a lot of struggles with developing different ideas around structure, around how to structure the types of healing works that I want to offer. And when stepping into this beautiful circle of shamanic practices, I really found my keys. I really found this alignment, this truth, and this beauty of this wheel of transformation. And it is something that I'm going to continue to work with and going to continue to offer and facilitate going forward. So, this is a 6-month process, and we just finished the first wheel of transformation. It was 4 days long. And the biggest takeaway that I got, or the biggest healing lesson that I got, was this inner knowing and this feeling of being held by community. And we did a lot of work on trauma, childhood trauma. We did a lot of work with our ancestors. This time we worked on the North and the West. And so the Toltec medicine wheel of transformation has the four cardinal directions, and then it has the above, the below, and the within. So it's 7 different parts of the wheel. So each time we do 2 different parts, and this time we did the North and the West, and we really dealt with our inner child wounds and our ancestor wounds. So really deep diving on what these stories, these limiting beliefs were growing up, how we weren't seen or heard, or how our needs weren't met as a child, and how we've carried these beliefs and these mindsets going forward into our adulthood. So I know that a lot of my trauma is tied around not feeling like I'm enough, not being loved, and not feeling safe. And we did some really powerful transformational journeys. The one that was most impactful for me was we went into this, there was a night where we went into a body of water and we were held. So first we were blindfolded and had to trust and surrender and be walked in the dark with a blindfold on into a body of water and release ourselves backwards to be held and be caught by the other members of the wheel. And this was so powerful and so profound for me because as much work as I've done on myself, I can tell myself that I'm safe. I can tell myself that I trust, that I surrender. I can intellectually tell myself that I've healed these. And, to some degree, I have, because I have an awareness around what they are. But the deeper healing really comes from this embodied journey, from actually going through this practice of surrender, of trust, and of being held. So in this moment, I felt fully safe. I felt like I could trust. I felt like I could trust in the other members of the community, trust other people to hold me, to have me, have my back, and to keep me safe. And that was a deep rewiring of my neurocircuitry and my nervous system. And it just allowed me to almost take a deep breath and relax, because for so long, all of my wounds really tie around safety. And I feel like I've had so many issues in my life, anxiety, depression, insomnia, all of these things really revolving around not feeling safe and having the sympathetic nervous system always stimulated, always on overdrive. And so what I like to call it or think about it is this team of army members in my head, and they're always on high alert with their knives, their guns. They're ready to fight at all times. And having that on all the time, of course, it's hard for me to let go, to relax, to sleep, because I'm always on high alert for my safety. So in this healing work, I was able to feel supported, feel safe, feel held. And when I released myself into that water, I was held and I cried and I was held, and they rocked me back and forth like a little child, like a newborn baby, almost rebirthing. We weren't nude, but it felt very vulnerable. It felt very raw, like I was a baby, a newborn, being birthed again into this space, being held and rocked and nurtured and safe. And it was so beautiful and so powerful. And that was probably the most beautiful thing that happened for me during that journey. And the second one probably was the ceremony that we had with our ancestors. We prepared them offerings and sacraments, and then we went into the woods and we really picked up different items that represented beliefs or limitations of stories that we were telling ourselves that are no longer serving us. So some of mine were, as I mentioned before, not being enough, not being loved, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of not being safe, the fear of being vulnerable, because that requires a level of trust and safety. And really, the combination of all these practices allowed me to believe and feel in my body that I can trust people, that it is safe to count on other people to show up for me, and that I can drop this armor that has kept me safe for so long. Because for so long in my life, I have had this really, really extensive, heavy armor on, this defense mechanism to keep me safe. I've been operating from this system of really this masculine energy where I feel like I have to be this strong, independent woman and have it all figured out, and I can't allow others to help me, and I don't trust them to help me, and I don't trust them to keep me safe. And it's been a real struggle of feeling like I can open up and let people in and be vulnerable with people because I've been let down and because past trauma and experiences that has happened in my life. I mean, there was a point in my life where I couldn't speak to others. I could never have spoken out loud like this and shared my truth, shared my voice, shared my wisdom. And also, even just eye contact, the vulnerability of that was very threatening feeling. It felt very unsafe and wired my sympathetic nervous system to respond. And I caught myself for so long kind of not being able to give clear eye contact and look away. And that also is connected to my armor that I had built up for so long. So really, this weekend of this Toltec medicine wheel was so transformational, and I am so excited to continue to dive deeper into this work. And from here, once I'm done going through this journey, this initiation on my own, of my own trauma, my own healing, I'm going to be learning to facilitate these medicine wheels so that I can offer my unique gifts, my medicine, my magic to the world, and offer my own healing, wisdom, and vibration to the collective. So stay tuned. I'm so excited to keep sharing about this. I think it's some of the most beautiful healing work that I've ever taken part in, again, because of the embodiment practice in it. It's not an intellectual understanding, it is a physiological, kinesthetic feeling and knowing in your blood and your bones and your body, a rewiring of your nervous system, and an embodiment of the healing work that you've done. So If you're interested in any of this work, please reach out. There will be some links in the show notes for you to reach out to the facilitators. They are located in Texas right now. I'm sure there's other groups as well, but if you are interested in learning more about these healing modalities, please reach out. I would love to give you more information and connect you with the right healers, because it is so worth it and extensive, and just I think every person in the world needs to go through this, really. It would change the entire world, the frequency and the vibration of the collective so deeply. And I'm so passionate about sharing this with the world. So, another thing that has come up since I left this Toltec medicine wheel is I went into this space of doing super deep healing work, right? And when you do this healing work, you come out on the other side anticipating that everything's going to be better, right? And what I've found is oftentimes it gets more difficult afterwards. And I have been through times in my life, even just the past week, where I've encountered so many obstacles, so many things in my way that would literally push most people off the edge and have them give up. But I have had to continue to sit with my feelings, sit with my emotions, sit with the obstacles, sit with all of it, and really question and understand what is happening and why is this happening. It's not happening to me, but rather it's happening for me. And what is the lesson in this? What can I learn from this? It's been very difficult, if I'm honest, because there are days and there are times and parts of me that want to give up and that want to go back to my old ways, go back to my own old behavior patterns and comfort zones, because it's so much easier. When I have those times, it's like, oh, I should just go back to nursing because it provided a stable income. I should just go back to, not being on this healing journey and just doing what everyone else does every day, like go to work, watch TV, and be robotic, because it was easier and more comfortable. And I have been so uncomfortable and so tested. And it's been so difficult to continue on this healing journey because you never know what's going to happen. And it's so much uncertainty and unknown and fear that comes up. And it really does take so much devotion, so much commitment to continue on this path and to not give up. And I want to just encourage you that if you are going through something similar, if you have embarked on a healing journey, just know that the healing journey is not a linear process. In fact, it is more like a roller coaster. There are ebbs and flows, there are ups and downs, just like the human experience. There's not always going to be highs, there's not always going to be lows. It's an ever flowing, ever changing, ever evolving trajectory that, without the lows, there would be no highs. And I know that sounds super cliche, but the difficulties, the struggles, the obstacles are what pave way to these deeper lessons, to this deeper wisdom, to growth, to transformation, to healing, to embodiment of wisdom. And as much as I can say that some of the obstacles and difficulties have been so hard, and at times I've wished that they didn't happen, on the other side, I have learned how to see the lesson and how to be thankful and grateful for these things happening for me. Because on the other side, I'm coming out with so much more strength, so much more resilience, so much more courage, and really being able to transmute my fear into love, and to be able to continually stay in a space of surrender and trust. That has been the most vital thing for me. It has always been a very difficult lesson for me, because most of my life I've been in this way of existence that the system kind of teaches us, that you have to be super productive to be successful, that your job, your accolades are tied up in your worth. And let me tell you, that is not the case. But it is so programmed and so conditioned into my human that it's hard for me sometimes to just rest and allow and receive and not to try to do and get to the next place or next thing. It's been so difficult for me to release control of what the outcome is supposed to look like and to still see my worth, even though I don't have a conventional job like my nursing job. Because back then I tied so much worth in my nursing job. I felt like I had a purpose. I felt like I had worth because I was in this career. And now that I'm in this in between phase, in this transition, I a lot of times have this fear come up and this not enough story come up because I don't feel worthy, because I'm not in a conventional job right now, and because I don't know what that looks like next. So it has required a tremendous amount of faith, a tremendous amount of trust, and a tremendous amount of surrender every day, the choosing the practice to surrender and trust. Because what I have found is that the universe continues to put these obstacles on your path, especially after you've done a lot of healing work. It wants to know that you're committed, and it wants to know that you're not going to give up. So it keeps throwing things at you over and over and over again to see how much you are willing to stick it out, to ride it out. How much pain, heartache, struggle can you overcome? How strong are you really? And how dedicated are you to your mission, to your dharma, and to your truth? And the universe really likes a warrior. They like somebody who is so driven and so determined and so surrendered in a state of trust and faith that they are not going to get off track no matter what is thrown at them. So that has been the lesson for me throughout all of this healing work recently. It really has been to stay the course, to believe that the universe is conspiring in my favor at all times, to believe that everything is happening for me, not to me, and really finding the lesson in the struggle and being able to alchemize the pain and the suffering into this light. So that is all for now. I would love for you to leave me any comments. If you have any questions, if you have any insights, I would love to connect with you deeper. If you are going through a difficult time or a dark night of the soul, or you feel lost, alone, overwhelmed, like you don't know what your purpose is or where you're going, know that you're not alone. Know that you are loved. Know that you are seen, you are heard, and you are safe. And that you simply existing as you are is enough. You are enough. You were always enough, and you will always be enough, no matter what accolades, no matter what anything, any job, any title that you think you might need. You are enough just as you are. You are the entire universe expressing itself as a human for a little while. You are stardust in human form, so continue to shine in your brightest light, in your fullest expression, and be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you want to connect with me, please reach out to my Instagram at SoulSearcherShan, and I will see you next week.